Welcome to the Money Over 50 podcast, brought to you by Dallas Davison and Michael Hogue from Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. This information is general in nature and does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Therefore, you should consider whether the information is appropriate for you and your personal circumstances. If you require personal advice, please contact Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. Here are your hosts, Dallas Davison and Michael Hogue.
Welcome to Money Over 50. Today we are here to talk about the percentage of podcasts we dedicate to not panicking.
Thanks, Dallas. And typically, I haven't prepared exactly for this, so I haven't actually done the numbers on this.
It's very unlike you. Normally, to explain to the listeners, the background here is that Michael's podcasts tend to actually involve, some calculations and some thought and some, workings, whereas mine are just, I have a phrase in my mind and then we sort of spout off about that, and sometimes it runs into a dead end and sometimes it goes somewhere. So this is very odd for you to have a podcast that you haven't then done.
Well, it's true. If figures need preparing, like, for example, Sydney house prices versus CBA shares, I'll over-prepare for those ones.
Yep.
This one here, though, I wanted to speak about what the percentage of podcasts we dedicate to the show to that are about not panicking when markets go down. Now, the part that I haven't prepared for is that I don't exactly know what that number is. I didn't go back through the 200 episodes and actually do those numbers. I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere about 1 in every 4, 1 in every 5, something in that vicinity. We dedicate the podcast to talking about not making the fatal mistake when the next big downturn comes.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of things there to add. Is that I think there's a lot of podcasts that we've done where we dedicate the whole topic is about not panicking, but then there's probably 80% of the podcasts that we do, there at some stage throughout the podcast, the topic is raised and mentioned of, even if we're in theory talking about, different asset classes, whatever, there's always the discussion there that we always find a way to slide that in somehow to discuss. Hey, if whatever we're doing, you need to not panic. Hey, however you do this, if you're going to save tax, all the rest of you're going to get it in here and not panic when things drop. So for us, it's actually almost second nature now to have that conversation. And I think the point of what you're getting at here, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that people might be surprised that that's the percentage of time that we spend on that, just that basic concept of not panicking when prices go down. But that's because it's that important. That's why we do it.
It's that important, and it's a little bit like the lifeboat drill when you jump onto a cruise ship. So not many cruise ships sink. But they spend a good half an hour when you get on doing the lifeboat drill. So if there is a problem, this is what you need to do. They do that because it's catastrophic if you don't follow the procedure.
That's a great point.
When the ship's going down. So it's of the same importance. I'll just tell a story too. So my son Richie is about to turn 6, and my daughter, they're fascinated with the Titanic at the moment. Right. Yeah. Fascinated.
And Snoop Dogg.
And Snoop Dogg. Yes. So they're watching they love YouTube. They're on YouTube all the time watching 4 or 5 minute videos to music about the Titanic. And now they know of the sister ships, the Britannic, which actually sunk as well.
Right.
And the RMS Olympic. So in their mind, 2 out of 3 of every ship goes down.
I imagine maybe taking him over to Maggie Island on the ferry, that causes some stress.
We talk about going on a cruise. We're going to go on a cruise, and because I just love cruise ships as well. And all of the video footage is about ships that have like the most recent cruise ship was that Costa Concordia that sunk. So in their mind, 2 out of every 3 ships or somewhere like that
go down. It's probably more exciting for them because they go, we're going to go and get on this cruise ship. It could sink any moment.
And they're worried about icebergs coming close to Australia and all of those types of things. And so I said to my daughter, Margot, who's 4, I said, look, if we go on a cruise, you don't need to be worried. Oh, and the other thing, they were worried too because they're worried for me. Because the women and children first, and there wasn't enough lifeboats on the Titanic. And I said, Margot, look, do you realise that the ship, you don't have to be worried because the cruise ship's not going to sink. Not many cruise ships sink. And she looks at me and she says, I'm very, 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 very worried that it's going to sink. So there's like 4 verys. That's I'm digressing there, of course.
No, but I think it actually makes an interesting point, which is that you're saying to them, don't worry about it because it's it's not going to happen. Whereas the reason we're banging on constantly about not panicking when company prices drop is because it is definitely going to happen. This isn't like it may or may not happen in your lifetime.
Yeah.
It is on average every 5 years, a 30% drop will occur.
And it's the financial equivalent of a cruise ship going down.
Yeah.
So the lifeboat drills that we do, so that all of the podcasts that we dedicate to not panicking are lifeboat drills, metaphorically speaking, in terms of giving people the ammunition to make the right decision when they're ready to capitulate. And that happens. I mean, we spoke at length over a few podcasts and one recently about the stages of the global financial crisis, where there was 3 stages where it effectively dropped and paused, dropped a lot in a matter of a week, and then when people thought it was over, it was 40% down. Yeah. Still had another 17% to go. Now, during that run of 17% down from a 40% drop where people thought it was over, there's people that capitulated at precisely the wrong time. The very nature of the bottom of any drop means that the most amount of people have panicked at that precise point in time. So the bottom is the bottom because it's the bottom when the last person's panicked out of it. So, and then things start to rise again. So we bang on, and you some of the listeners would no doubt say, what are these guys banging on about all the time? Like, returns have been nice and stable.
I know this because some of my clients do say that to me. Hey, you're banging on about this again. So.
We bang on. I mean, like, for nothing else, when this happens next time, if people go back and start at number 1 and listen to the whole 250 or however many we've got at that point in time of podcasts and go through all of those, or even if they pick out the ones that we dedicate to not panicking, it's the reps that you need. Yes. It's the reps that you need to hear. And it's not if, as you said before, Dallas, it's when the next drop happens and when the next one happens after that. Now, why would you put yourself through all of this? Because you need to.
Yes.
I mean, 99.9% of the clients that we see need to expose the vast majority of their retirement saving funds to the great quality companies of Australia and the world, because they need a return that's north of 8% per year. Yep. They're not going to get anywhere near that in bonds and term deposits at the current rates.
That's probably where the analogy falls down, because if you knew that if you were on a cruise ship that you knew was going to sink once every 5 years, you'd go, I'm getting off the ship.
I'm getting off the ship.
I don't care that much. I don't want to go on a cruise that bad.
No,
but that's the analogy is probably better of, there is somewhere that you need to get to, and you know that is going to happen. You need to prepare for that. You need to prepare, and I guess probably where the analogy is that it's not even that the ship sinks every 5 years. It's that there's extreme weather conditions that it sets you back. It doesn't sink. That's actually what happens with the metaphorical ship here, is that every 5 years there's a massive storm. You get pushed backwards. You've got to sort of
that's probably a better analogy. Is you're in a massive storm on a ship. When people panic at the bottom of a market cycle, that's akin to jumping off the ship. Like, of course you want to get off, but it's it's the classic jumping from the frying pan into the fire.
Yes.
So if there was another way, we wouldn't do it. Why would you do it? If there was another way, there isn't another way. For people, like, there's no other way that we know of. That there's no other asset class that we know of that's as deep and diversified and ever growing. The price that you have to pay is that every 5 years, it's on average going to go down by a third. So you're going to see a 30 to 40% drop. Every 10 or 15 years, you're going to see a bigger one than that. You're going to get cut in half for a period of time. It's temporary. It's not permanent.
Yeah.
And that's why we keep beating the drum.
Yeah.
Because it is going to happen time and time again. It's the price that you have to pay. It's the fee that you have to pay for financial success.
And I think the other phrase, I think, or the other way that probably gets confused, we're talking about average drops there. The reason we bang on about this all the time is because we don't know when the next one will be. So if we knew that the next 30% drop was going to be in 2.5 years' time, well, then we could go, right, let's not discuss it for 2 years, and then in the last 6 months, we'll get everyone in. We'll say, hey, this is going to happen. Get ready for this. The reality is we don't know when that next drop is going to be. It's akin to they're doing the lifeboat drill. Could you imagine if on the Titanic, after they'd hit the iceberg and there's water rushing in, they go, hey guys, just quietly gather around here. Just everyone, just a bit of quiet. We're going to do the lifeboat drills now. Now this is, it's chaos. It's pandemonium by the stage that you're actually in those situations. You can't think, you can't listen, you can't do anything. You just have to. Again, it's akin to training for any sport, where the whole point of your training is so that under extreme pressure, you don't have to try and decide what you will do. You've trained yourself so that you know exactly what I'll do when this thing happens, and it just happens automatically. So that's the other reason why we bang on about it all the time, is because we don't know when it will be, and if we waited until it actually happened, it's not the time to be trying to make a reasonable, rational, thought-out decision when you're under extreme pressure. You need to do that in advance.
Yeah, I think it's awfully late to be telling people that
hey, don't panic.
Don't panic when we're actually in the middle of a drop like that. Yeah. Another point that I'd like to make is that, look, we don't know. Yeah. We don't know when that's going to be and how deep that's going to be. Don't let anyone else tell you that they do know.
No, that's
so it's not that we don't know. No. It's that it's unknowable.
Yes.
And it's look, coming to that realization sets you free.
Yes.
Like, coming to that realization that there is no better way to do this, we believe, than to have quite a lot of your retirement savings exposed to those 1,700 great Australian and world companies, and to stay in through thick and thin and ups and downs.
Yep.
We know of no other better way. Look, it really sets you free when you come to the realization that you can't do anything about it.
Yep.
It's temporary.
Yep.
You can't pick the top. You can't pick the bottom again. You can't get out before.
Yep.
You can't get back in at the bottom.
Yep.
You just can't.
You have to.
You just can't. Now that sets you free.
Yes.
Like you put it out of your mind. You stick to your strategy.
Yeah.
And you ride out those tough times. You certainly don't. By the time you're thinking, gee, I need to get out of this thing, it's far too late.
Yep.
It's far too late. You've made the wrong decision.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to the Money Over 50 podcast with Money Over 50 financial advisors. For more information and resources, visit the Money Over 50 website, mo50.com.au. We look forward to catching up again soon.